Welcome back to Yoshi Entertainment, everybody. So, just recently, Steve Harvey sat down with Shannon Sharpe and they had a little conversation about some things. Now, usually I don't listen to what Steve Harvey has to say because he says some very hypocritical things, if you ask me, where relationships are concerned, considering his previous relationships with his ex wives and the current one he's in right now, allegedly. So usually I don't listen to what he has to say, but in this last little conversation he had, there were some very interesting things that he said that I'm gonna have to say I agree with for once in a very long time. So there were two things that he mentioned that really stood out to me. For one, he brought up the whole "what do you bring to the table" question. Now that is something I've heard going around on social media for probably about the last 2 years. What do you bring to the table? It's a really famous question that people like to ask now during dating. And I feel like the reason why it's so controversial and some people are really triggered by that question is because it hasn't always been used in a very mature way. It's been used in a kind of malicious way, very sarcastic. And I feel like a lot of people's pride have taken it the wrong way in some aspects, in some situations. Now, some people, they do mean it in a mature way. They're just asking about a person's character. What are you bringing to that person's life? What are you bringing to that relationship? As in, like, you bring in, positivity. Are you trying to help them build? Are you trying to help them grow? Not do their parents' job, but help them, grow as people, not bring out the worst in them, not cause them to have less peace and more stress. Where do you see the relationship going? What do you want out of the relationship? That person's background, and like I said, their character. Do they have integrity? Because you got to know who you're getting involved with. I know it doesn't all reveal itself during the dating phase, but asking questions is necessary. Like I said, you need to know who you're getting involved with, who you're giving your heart to, who you're getting in a relationship with. And that's what I think some people mean by what are you bringing to the table. Now, some people, they do mean money wise. What are you bringing to the table? Now, I don't agree with people making everything in a relationship about money. I understand finances are a big aspect of relationships, but I don't agree with people making the whole relationship or whether or not they're going to be with somebody based on money. Because you can have all the money in the world, but if your character is trash, all you're doing is paying yourself to be with somebody with a trash character. It ain't worth it. Ain't that much money worth it? You know what I'm saying? So like I said, some people I do believe mean it in a mature way and they just want to know your character, what they're, getting involved with. But some people do mean it in a money aspect. And I think that that's what he was talking about when he said stop asking women what they bring to the table. I think that he meant stop asking women how much they make or how much, money they're going to bring to the relationship, how much money they're making on their job, because he feels like the men should be the ones in charge of making the money to take care of the family, of his wife, being the provider and the protector. And I'm very much in agreement with that a husband's job, and notice I said a husband, not your boyfriend, not your boo-boo, not your boy toy, your boo thing, whatever you want to call him, your long-term boyfriend, your husband, the man who has committed himself and pledged to, be the only man that's, romantically involved with you and, doing all that stuff with you. Your husband should be the provider and the protector. He should be paying the bills. I do agree with that, very much so. Now, that's not to say that the woman's just sitting up, not doing anything at all while he's taking care of her. But I feel like a lot of the reason why some of these relationships are falling apart is because we don't know our respective roles. And I'm not trying to say like the women should be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying that God has ordained us all, both men and women, boys and girls, to play roles in every relationship we have, whether it's romantic, family relationships, platonic relationships. Everybody has a role that God has ordained us to play. We also got to get our priorities straight. I'm going to always be an advocate of the Most High. Your first priority, that first person slot, so to speak, that should be in your life is God. It's always God first. Then if you're married, it's your spouse, then your kids, then everybody else. And you can say, oh, you crazy. No, anybody else who thinks any other way is crazy. That's the only way to do it. That's the only way to go about it. Because if you don't have it that way, your priorities out of line. And usually things get messed up when your priorities are out of line, when you're not playing your role. It's why a lot of these relationships don't make it. And if you don't believe me, let me walk you down again why some of these relationships fall apart. It starts with the men because the men are the head of the family, the head of the household. So if they don't play their role as provider and protectors, then the women go unprovided for, unprotected. You got kids in the relationship, they go unprovided for and protected for. So then the women try to step in and do their job and their husband's job, and then it doesn't get done. And then the kids suffer in the crossfire of it all. And that's why some of these women want to be independent. And, that's another thing they talked about. And it's not that all women feel like they don't need a man. Let's not get that confused either. Because social media will have y'all believing that every woman thinks that they're a strong, independent woman who doesn't need a man. No, most of these women just don't believe that these men are going to do their role. No woman wants to be stuck in a relationship with a guy that's not going to do right by them or the kids that they have. That's why some women have just decided to take care of themselves, because they feel like if I have to, do everything, do my part, his part, and everything else, I might as well, do whatever I got to do by myself and have one less headache of a person in my life. Another thing he mentioned was, the whole, oh, I don't need no man, like I said, and men saying I don't need no woman. He is basically saying that that's garbage. Now, I didn't personally say that. I do think that that's garbage, though, but it's loosely quoting him that we need each other. Like, I feel like everybody can do some self-reflecting. I'm really big on both men and women need to do some self-work before they get into relationships. Men need women and women need men. That's the end of the story. We all need to swallow our pride and stop acting like we don't need each other. That's one of the main problems, our pride. It's the reason why it's one of the 7 deadly sins. Like I said, we need to swallow our pride, get rid of it, because it's what's got us in this position to begin with. And like I said, another thing he said was garbage, again, was the whole people not agreeing with men needing to be providers and protectors and taking care of their families, taking care of their wives, taking care of their children. I don't understand why this has to be said still at our big age of adulthood, why people still have to explain this, that this is the way relationships should work. And it's really pathetic that it seems like it's only black people that this has to be said to. But anyways, he said, y'all doing it these new ways, any kind of new way you're trying to do. And he was talking about the 50-50 that they've been trying to shove in everybody's faces as of late. He said it was garbage. Again, I'm quoting him, loosely quoting him. He said, if the men aren't out here taking care of their, their families, this 50-50 garbage, like, it's garbage. Anything else is garbage. The only way to go is the way it's been. Now, I know it's not like the way it used to be because of the whole thing with the roles again. They love to bring up women working versus not working, being traditional versus modern. Like, I know y'all see these, prices of living is through the roof. So please, let's not sit up here and act like y'all don't need a dual income. That's another thing I can't seem to wrap my head around. People acting like women can afford to be sitting at home. Like, there are some men who can afford to have housewives because they make enough money to take care of the both of them and any kids that they have. But if we're being blatantly honest, which we need to do, again, swallow our pride and be honest, some men do not make enough money to have a housewife. Okay? That's not me bashing men. That's not me trying to say, oh, y'all are broke. That's me, again, telling the truth and being realistic. Some men don't make enough money for their wives to be at home. And some women are not just going to sit at home knowing if they go get a job, they can help their husbands. She's still playing her role because she's being a helpmeet. It's just in a different way. Like I said, this is, the modern society. Cost of living is through the roof. This ain't the 1950s. This is not the 1800s. Some women, I do believe, were called by God to be working women, and some women were called by God to be housewives. But I don't think it's right to bash a woman for being either or the other. But anyways, I kind of went off on a tangent there. Like I said, I do agree with those things that he said. I feel like people were very much in support of him when he was saying some other kind of crazy stuff. But when he said that, they all wanted to drag him. But it's the truth. What he said was the truth. So, y'all let me know what y'all think and how y'all feel down in the comments below. Respectfully, don't forget to like and subscribe. Y'all have a nice day.